the Shadow Wolf. Reborn, the demon king of the abyss. For 3,000 years, I ruled the darkness between worlds. Armies broke against my shadow like waves against black stone. Gods feared my name. And then I died. Not in battle, not by the blade of some chosen hero. I sneezed. I sneezed so hard, I destabilized my own soul core and collapsed my dimensional fortress on top of myself. 3,000 years of conquest ended by a sneeze. The last thing I heard before the darkness took me was my own generals laughing. Consciousness returned slowly. First came cold, then wet, then a smell. Something rotten, something human, something fish. I opened my eyes. A narrow alley, gray walls, overflowing garbage bins. Rain falling from a sky I did not recognize. Strange lights above me. Moving metal carriages on the road beyond. Where was this place? I tried to rise. My legs moved wrong. 4 of them, all 4, moving at the same time, connected to a body that was very, very small. I looked down. Paws. Small, black, wet. Paws. I found a puddle nearby and looked at my reflection. Staring back at me was a puppy. Thin, dirty, one ear folded wrong, eyes too large for the skull. A dog. I had been reincarnated as a stray dog. I, Reborn, king of the abyss, lord of 10,000 shadows. A stray dog. I sat in that puddle for a very long time, processing. The first thing I discovered about this new body was hunger. In my previous life, I had not eaten in over 4 centuries. I absorbed ambient dark energy. I was beyond such base needs. In this body, I had apparently been without food for several days. My stomach was producing sounds that I found deeply undignified. I tried to summon my shadow armies. Nothing. I tried to open a dimensional rift. Nothing. I tried to release even a fraction of my killing intent, enough to make lesser beings flee in blind terror. A passing cat looked at me and hissed. The cat hissed at me, and then it walked away. It took considerable restraint not to chase it. Considerable. 3 days passed. I learned several things about being a street dog in this world. First, humans here are strange creatures. They carry glowing rectangles everywhere and stare into them constantly. Second, the metal carriages move very fast and do not yield to anything, including former demon kings. Third, other dogs have established territory in this area, and they were not pleased about my presence. On the 3rd day, 3 large dogs cornered me behind a restaurant. In my old body, I would have unmade them from existence. In this body, I ran. With great speed and 0 dignity, I ran. I turned a corner, then another, then up a long street lined with trees, and I stopped. Because standing in front of me was a girl. She looked young, 17 perhaps, school uniform, dark hair pulled back, a bag over one shoulder. She was standing alone under a streetlight. Rain had begun again. She was looking at her phone. Then she looked up, and she saw me. I must have looked pathetic. I was objectively pathetic. Wet, thin, shaking slightly from the cold. One ear still folded wrong. She crouched down. She held out her hand. Not food, just her hand. Open, waiting. I looked at the hand. I looked at the rain. I looked at the alley behind me, where 3 large dogs were probably still looking for me. And I, Veyron, king of the abyss, lord of 10,000 shadows, destroyer of the celestial gates, walked forward and let a 17-year-old girl scratch behind my ears. She smelled like rain and something warm, like bread, like a house that was actually a home. She said one word. Okay. Just that. Just okay. Like she had decided something. Her name was Mia. Her apartment was small, clean, books on every shelf, a single photograph on the wall, a woman who looked like her but older, smiling. Mia lived alone. I did not ask why. I already understood. She gave me food, real food, from a bowl on the kitchen floor. I looked at the bowl for a long moment. The king of the abyss, eating from a bowl on the floor. It was the best thing I had tasted in 3,000 years. I finished it very fast. Then I looked up at her. She was watching me with something in her eyes I could not name. Not pity. Something else. Something quieter. She reached down and placed her hand very gently on top of my head. You can stay, she said, if you want. I had ruled empires. I had broken gods. I had unmade entire planes of existence. No one had ever said those words to me before. You can stay, if you want. I curled up on the blanket she put down for me, and for the first time in 3,000 years, I slept. What I didn't know then was that Mia had been followed home that night, that the men outside in the black car were not there by coincidence, and that deep inside this small, borrowed body, something ancient was beginning to wake up. Not yet, but soon. Shadow Wolf, Episode 2.